I'm Diana, 26 years old. I never imagined I'd wake up in a hospital bed, battling to survive. My parents told the doctors they couldn't come because my sister Victoria was walking her dog. Even when the doctor said it might be my last night, they didn't show up. It wasn't the first time they picked Victoria over me, but I decided it would be the last. Let me share the letter I left behind that changed everything. Before I start, leave a comment with where you're watching from. If you've ever felt invisible in your family, hit that like and subscribe button. I grew up in a quiet Pennsylvania suburb, in a house with a white picket fence that seemed perfect. My parents, Harold and Diana Wilson, had 2 daughters. I was the oldest. Victoria came 3 years later. From the day she was born, I noticed how differently my parents treated us. At 7, I won first place at the school science fair. I ran home, clutching my blue ribbon, thrilled to show my parents. They gave me a quick pat on the head, then turned back to Victoria, who was learning to ride her bike without training wheels. I told myself her milestone was bigger than mine. By 12, I was used to the pattern. My straight A report card got a nod from Mom, but Victoria's B- in art earned loud praise. When I made the state swimming championships, Dad said he was proud but stayed home because Victoria had a slight cold. I got good at making excuses for them. They were busy. Victoria was younger and needed them more. I was independent, able to manage alone. I convinced myself these reasons explained why my successes vanished while Victoria's smallest wins were celebrated. My health made things tougher. At 16, I was diagnosed with a serious autoimmune disorder. I needed daily meds and constant checkups. Stress, certain foods, and especially animal dander could trigger flare-ups. But my parents acted like my condition was a bother. Missing school for doctor visits made Mom sigh about her schedule. When I needed the ER for a reaction, Dad grumbled about medical bills on the way. Victoria, though, was always healthy, vibrant, and outgoing. She shone as a high school soccer star, and my parents never missed her games. They'd cheer with huge signs, while I sat nearby, dizzy or nauseous from a flare-up, still showing up for my sister despite their lack of support for me. As we grew up, the gap in how my parents treated us widened. When college came, they said they could only help one of us financially. Since Victoria wasn't strong academically, they chose her. I juggled 3 jobs to pay for college, keeping a 4.0 GPA. Victoria dropped out after 1 semester, saying it was too stressful, and my parents bought her a new car to cheer her up. I still hoped they'd notice me someday. I worked hard to earn their love, graduating with honors and landing a great job at a marketing firm. I visited home often, bringing thoughtful gifts and remembering everyone's favorites, trying to be the perfect daughter. But no matter what I did, Victoria was always the center of their world. Last year, after another holiday where I felt like an outsider in my own family, I knew I needed a change. I moved to a city 30 miles away, close enough to visit, but far enough to gain independence. I settled into a cozy 1-bedroom apartment, kept shining at work, and started building a life free from chasing my parents' approval. Victoria, now 23, stayed at home. She hopped between part-time jobs, none lasting long. She spent her days shopping, partying, and posting online. My parents supported her fully, acting like this was normal for a woman in her 20s. Things escalated when Victoria wanted a dog, a $3,000 purebred Samoyed. Despite my severe allergies to animal dander, my parents not only agreed but paid for it and its fancy accessories. They turned their home office into a dog room with custom furniture and climate control. When I said I couldn't visit because of my allergies, Mom brushed it off. "Take your meds, sweetie. Victoria needs this dog for her emotional health." That summed up my family. Victoria's feelings always came before my health. Her wants trumped my needs. Yet I kept hoping they'd change. Despite it all, I kept a bond with Victoria. She was spoiled and self-focused, but not cruel. She grew up as the priority and didn't know better. Sometimes, when we were alone, I saw the sweet little sister I used to build sandcastles with. Those moments made me hold on, hoping there was still a real family tie to save. Now I see I was fooling myself. I clung to a dream of my family, not the reality of how they valued me. Fantasies are easier than facing painful truths that cut deep. For 26 years, I tried to earn love that should have been mine freely. It took a near-death experience to realize no effort would ever be enough. 3 months ago, I decided to reconnect with my family after weeks of little contact. I called Mom and suggested dinner that weekend. She sounded thrilled. "That's wonderful, Diana. It's been so long. I'll make your favorite lasagna, and Dad will get that cheesecake you love." Her excitement rekindled my hope. Maybe they missed me. Maybe they cared. I spent the week excited for Saturday. I bought a nice bottle of wine and a new outfit I thought Mom would like. As the day neared, I doubled up on my meds to keep my condition stable. I reminded myself not to expect too much, to focus on any good moments and not dwell on disappointments. When I arrived at my parents' house, Mom's warm hug and the smell of her lasagna felt perfect. Then I heard a bark, and my heart sank. "Is Victoria's dog here?" I asked, feeling my chest tighten with the start of an allergic reaction. "Of course Snowball's here. This is his home," Mom said like it was obvious. "Victoria brought him back this morning. She's here for the weekend." I didn't even know Victoria had moved out, but that was a talk for later. My allergies were the bigger issue now. "Mom, you know I'm severely allergic to dogs. I can't stay around Snowball long, even with meds," I said. Her face tightened. "We can't put him outside. It's too cold, and Victoria would be upset. You'll be fine for one night, Diana. Just take another pill." Before I could argue, Dad appeared, smiling wide. "There's my girl. Come in, dinner's almost ready." I hesitated but stepped inside. I'd driven 30 miles, bought wine, and dressed up for this. Leaving now would make me the difficult daughter, who couldn't handle one family dinner. Inside, Victoria lounged on the couch with Snowball, a big fluffy dog who barked excitedly at me. She glanced up from her phone and waved. "Hey sis, look how big Snowball's gotten. Isn't he gorgeous?" She nuzzled his fur, not noticing my discomfort. I stayed back, breathing lightly. "He's fluffy. I didn't know he'd be here." "Where else would he be?" Victoria laughed. "He's family." Her words hurt. A dog she'd had for less than a year was family, but I had to risk my health for him. I slipped to the bathroom, took more allergy meds, and used my inhaler. Hives were already forming on my neck. I looked in the mirror and told myself, "Just get through dinner. Keep the peace. It's only a few hours." Back at the table, the lasagna was amazing, but my stuffy sinuses dulled the taste. The talk was all about Victoria and Snowball, his training, cute antics, fancy organic food, and dog socials she took him to. When I mentioned my recent promotion or night classes, my parents nodded politely, then went back to Snowball's favorite chew toys. By dessert, my eyes watered, my breathing was heavy, and hives covered my skin. Victoria finally noticed. "Wow, Diana, you look rough. Are you having a reaction?" "Yes to Snowball," I wheezed. "I told Mom when I got here." Mom frowned. "I thought you were exaggerating. You're always dramatic about your health." "I'm not dramatic," I said, fighting to stay calm. "My doctor warned me about animal dander. It's serious." "You ate dinner and dessert just fine," Dad said, as if that proved I was okay. "I need to go," I said, standing. "Thanks for dinner, but I'm not well." "Already?" Mom said. "We haven't had coffee, and I wanted to show you the new curtains." "Another time," I replied, grabbing my purse. "I need more meds at home." Victoria rolled her eyes. "You're always so serious, Diana. It's just a little reaction. Take a Benadryl and relax." I didn't answer. I thanked them again, ignored their weak pleas to stay, and headed to my car. Driving home, my chest tightened, and breathing grew harder. I stopped at a pharmacy, grabbed more antihistamines, and took them in the parking lot. When I reached my apartment, I was drained, physically from the allergic reaction, and emotionally from another family dinner, where I felt invisible. I used my nebulizer, took a cool shower to ease my hives, and collapsed into bed. As I drifted off, I told myself the usual. They didn't mean to hurt me. They didn't get it. Victoria was their baby, and I was the strong one who didn't need them. But a quiet voice inside me said otherwise. They knew exactly what they were doing. They just didn't care enough to change. No amount of strength could fill the emptiness left by parents who always chose someone else. I ignored that voice and fell into a restless sleep, Not knowing this small incident was the start of a health crisis that would force me to face my family's painful truth. 3 days after that awful dinner, I woke up feeling like a truck was parked on my chest. My skin burned with hives, and standing made the room spin. I grabbed my phone and left a message for my doctor, explaining my symptoms and the dog exposure. I'd had bad reactions before, but this was one of the worst. Normally, symptoms peaked and faded within a day or two. Getting worse on day 3 scared me. I pushed myself to shower and dress for work, every move painful. I had a big presentation I'd prepped for weeks, and missing it wasn't an option. I'd always powered through sickness to meet expectations, and today was no different. Driving to work, memories of past health scares hit me. At 17, my first major autoimmune flare landed me in the hospital for 3 days. Mom visited once briefly, because Victoria had a recital. Dad called daily but never came, saying hospitals made him uneasy. In college, pneumonia left me too weak to walk. My roommate called my parents, worried. They sent money for meds but couldn't visit because Victoria was upset over a breakup. Each time, I told myself it was okay. I was grown. I could handle being sick alone. I didn't need them to hold my hand. But being chronically ill with no family support was lonely and crushing. When I got to the office, I knew I shouldn't have come. My breathing was shallow, and dark spots flickered in my vision. My colleague Natalie saw me stumble to my desk and rushed over. "Diana, you look awful. What's wrong?" Her face showed real worry. "Allergic reaction," I gasped. "Dog at my parents' house. Thought I could push through." Natalie frowned. "You need a doctor now. This looks bad." "I have a presentation," I mumbled. "I'll handle it," she said firmly. "Your health matters more. Do you need a ride to urgent care?" I shook my head, touched but stubborn. "I'll call my doctor. If they say go, I'll get an Uber." Natalie wasn't convinced but went back to her desk after I promised to update her. I called my doctor again, and the nurse answered. After hearing my symptoms, she was blunt. "This could be anaphylaxis. With your history, you need the ER now." After hanging up, I sat for a moment, torn. Part of me wanted to stay for the presentation to prove I could handle anything. But a wiser voice, long ignored, told me this was serious. I grabbed my things and went to Natalie's desk. "The nurse says I need the ER. Can you tell Brian I can't do the presentation?" "Of course," Natalie said, grabbing her purse. "I'm driving you. You shouldn't be alone." I tried to argue, but she wouldn't budge. Honestly, I was relieved. My worsening condition scared me, and going through it alone felt overwhelming. As Natalie drove me to the hospital, I called my parents. Despite everything, I hoped they'd show up in a real emergency. The call went to voicemail. I left a short message about my severe reaction and the hospital, keeping my voice calm but clear about the urgency. Then I called Victoria, hoping she could reach Mom and Dad. "Hey, what's up?" she answered, her dog barking loudly. "Victoria, I'm having a bad reaction," I said, my voice weak. "I'm heading to the hospital. I can't reach Mom and Dad. Can you tell them?" "That sucks," she said, distracted. "Snowball, stop. He's eating my shoes. I'll tell them when I see them. They're taking me and Snowball to the new dog park." "This is serious, Victoria," I stressed. "They need to know now." "Okay, I'll text them. Gotta go. Snowball's ruining my sneakers. Feel better." She hung up. I stared at my phone, stunned. Even now, heading to the ER, Victoria and her dog came first. I sank back, fighting tears of frustration and pain. "Family?" Natalie asked gently. "Something like that," I muttered. When we reached the hospital, I could barely stay awake. My throat felt like it was closing, and my skin burned with hives. Natalie helped me into the ER, where the triage nurse took one look and called for help. Everything blurred. I was rushed to a treatment area, given epinephrine and steroids, and hooked to monitors. Doctors asked about my medical history and allergens. I answered as best I could, fading in and out. My last clear thought was calling out for my neighbor, Mrs. Garza, to feed my cat. She wasn't there, she lived next door, but in my haze, I worried about my pet. Then everything went dark. Later, I learned the hospital tried calling my parents multiple times. They reached them at 6 p.m., For hours after I was admitted, a nurse shared their response with me. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson, this is Mercy General. Diana's in critical condition with a severe anaphylactic reaction. You should come now, the nurse said. Tonight? We can't, Dad replied. Our other daughter's at the dog park, and we need to pick her up. Sir, Diana's organs are under stress. This could be her last night. You need to be here, the nurse urged. After a pause, Mom said, we can't leave Victoria stranded with her dog. Diana will stabilize. We'll come tomorrow if she's still there. The nurse was shocked. I'll note you were informed, she said, hanging up. As I drifted in and out, I heard voices and beeping machines. At one point, I opened my eyes to see an older nurse holding my hand, her gray hair peeking from her cap. Hang in there, sweetheart, she said softly. I'm right here. I squeezed her hand weakly, grateful for a stranger's kindness when my family left me alone again. All night, my body fought itself. My immune system, triggered by the dog exposure, attacked my own tissues. The medical team worked hard, tweaking my meds and watching my vitals. By morning, I was a bit better but still in the ICU. The worst was over, but the toll on my body and my heart was heavy. Natalie reached out to my coworkers, and the next day, friends and colleagues visited. They brought flowers, cards, and real care. People I saw daily but never thought were close came by, sharing stories to lift my spirits. My parents didn't call once. Victoria didn't text to check if I was alive. Their absence hit me hard. The hope I'd held for 26 years, that my family loved me deep down, shattered. In its place, I found clarity. I saw my family for who they were, not who I wanted them to be. That's when I decided to write the letter that would change everything. My first 72 hours in the hospital are a haze. I remember flashes. Cold medicine rushing through my monitors beeping, nurses' shoes squeaking on the floor, and the feeling of drowning despite my oxygen mask. But one moment stands out clearly. The moment I woke fully and realized my family wasn't there. I opened my eyes to the ICU's white ceiling, hoping to see Mom by my bed. Instead, a young nurse was checking my vitals. Welcome back, she said with a warm smile. You scared us. My parents. I asked, my voice rough. Her smile faded. They haven't come yet. Want me to call them? That's when it hit me. I'd almost died, and my parents chose Victoria's dog over me. I always knew they favored her, but I thought they'd show up in a life or death moment. That belief was the last thing tying me to the idea of a real family. Now it was gone. No, I said after a pause. Don't call them. The nurse Ellie seemed to get it. She patted my hand gently. Others have visited. Natalie's been here daily, and friends have stopped by. They're really worried about you. Tears ran down my face. Co-workers and casual friends cared more than my own parents. The difference broke my heart but opened my eyes. As I stayed conscious longer that day, I learned more about my ordeal. Dr. Rivera, an immunology expert, explained what happened. You had a severe biphasic anaphylactic reaction, she said. The dog exposure started it, but after seeming to improve, your body hit a worse second phase. That's why you got sicker days later. Your autoimmune condition made it a perfect storm. Could I have died? I asked, needing the truth. She met my eyes. Yes, Diana. Without quick treatment, this could have been fatal. Symptoms building over days made it riskier, as many delay help until organs fail. She said I'd stay in the hospital another week for monitoring and new meds. The dog exposure caused such a bad reaction that my whole treatment plan needed a redo. As the day went on, things became clearer. Natalie visited at lunch, updating me on what happened after I blacked out. The ER called your parents repeatedly, she said, angry and shocked. I heard the first call. The doctor said you might not survive the night, but they couldn't come because Victoria needed help with her dog. I wanted to yell at them. She stayed late that night, leaving only when nurses said I was stable. She came back before work the next day and checked in daily. Other co-workers set up a visit rotation to ensure someone came each day. We all chipped in for the flowers, she said, pointing to a pretty bouquet by my bed. Brian rescheduled your presentation for when you're back. Their kindness overwhelmed me. These co-workers, with no duty beyond work, supported me in ways my family never did. That evening, Ellie, the nurse, returned with an odd look. Your parents called the nurse's station, she said cautiously. They asked about you and said they might visit tomorrow. Might. I echoed, the word bitter on my tongue. I can keep them updated if you don't want to see them, she offered, sensing my pain. I sat quietly, feeling anger, hurt, and disappointment, but also a new resolve. For the first time, I saw my parents clearly, without the hope and excuses I'd always made. If they come, I said. I'm not ready to see them. Tell them I'm resting and can't have visitors. Ellie nodded, understanding. Of course. That night, lying awake to the hospital's steady sounds, I made a choice. I'd use this pause to face the toxic family pattern that shaped my 26 years. I'd write a letter to my parents, sharing the raw truth of our relationship, and setting boundaries I should have set long ago. The next morning, I asked Ellie for paper and a pen. She brought them, plus a small lap desk for my bed. As my strength returned over the next few days, I poured my heart into a letter, spilling years of hurt, disappointment, and my choice to put my well-being first. During this time, the difference between my family and my new support system stood out. Natalie visited daily, bringing comforts from home or work updates. Co-workers stopped by with books, magazines, and chats that eased my recovery pain. Mrs. Garza, my neighbor I'd called for in my confusion, visited after Natalie checked on my cat. She brought homemade soup and stories about my pet, who she'd been caring for. I have 5 kids and 12 grandkids, she said by my bed. None are nearby. You and I, we look out for each other. That's what neighbors do. Dr. Rivera went beyond her duties, patiently explaining my condition and options. When I mentioned my parents' absence, she didn't sugarcoat it. That must hurt deeply, she said, validating my pain. Sometimes, the family we build matters more than the one we're born into. Her words stuck with me as I wrote. By day 6, I finished a 4-page letter. A goodbye to the past and a step toward a new start. I sealed it in an envelope Ellie gave me and waited. On day 7, as I prepped for discharge, Ellie brought news. Your parents called. They're coming this afternoon at 3. Should I say you're not seeing visitors? I took a deep breath, feeling calm. No, let them come, but I won't be here. She looked puzzled. Are you discharged this morning? Yes, I said, after talking with Dr. Rivera. But I need a favor. When they arrive, can you give them this? I handed her the envelope. Place it on the bed, like I left it for them. Ellie nodded, understanding in her eyes. Of course. By 2:30, I was discharged. Natalie picked me up, and we sat in a coffee shop across from the hospital. I could see the entrance. At 3:15, I watched my parents walk in, finally visiting a week after I nearly died. I didn't know how they'd react to my letter, but I knew our relationship would never be the same. For the first time, that thought brought freedom, not fear. Natalie's spare bedroom became my haven for 2 weeks. Her pet-free apartment on the 3rd floor had big windows, letting in light and fresh air, perfect for my recovery. Stay as long as you need, she said when I worried about imposing. I've got space and I like the company. The first few days, I focused on getting stronger. I slept 12 to 14 hours, my body needing rest after the ordeal. Dr. Rivera gave me a new med plan, and Natalie helped me track the pills and shots. As my body healed, my heart began mending from years of neglect. The letter I left marked a turning point, leaving behind the me who craved approval, and stepping into a me who valued herself, no matter what they thought. In that hospital, I poured my pain into the letter, each word freeing me from years of hurt. Dear Mom and Dad, when you read this, I'll be out of the hospital where I fought for my life for a week. The doctors called you that first night, saying I might not make it. You didn't come because Victoria needed help with her dog. This wasn't the first time you chose her over me. It's been our family's pattern since I can remember. For 26 years, I made excuses for you. I told myself Victoria needed you more, that I was stronger, that you'd see me one day. I nearly died waiting. I'm not writing from anger, though I could be. I'm writing for clarity and survival. I can't stay in a family that puts my needs, achievements, and life below my sister's, and now her dog's. I'm stepping back from us. I need time to heal from this crisis and a lifetime of being less than. I won't reach out, and I ask you not to contact me. If you ever want a healthier relationship, one with mutual respect, we can talk. That means owning the harm and committing to change. I don't expect it, but I leave the door ajar. Not for you, but for me. Letting go of the dream of parents who truly see me is the hardest thing I've done. This isn't punishment. It's me saving myself. Diana. I had no idea how my parents reacted to my letter. I half expected frantic calls or a visit to Natalie's place, since they could get her address from my building manager. But there was nothing, just silence, which spoke louder than words. A week after leaving the hospital, I started therapy with Lydia, recommended by Dr. Rivera. Our first talk focused on the trauma of my health scare and my family's absence. Over time, we dug into the patterns that shaped my life. Lydia explained in our third session, "You're describing a golden child scapegoat dynamic. One child, the golden child, gets all the praise, while the scapegoat gets the blame." "Why me?" I asked. "What did I do to be the scapegoat?" "Nothing," she said firmly. "It's not about you. It's their unresolved issues. The golden child's neediness makes them feel important. Your independence threatens that." Her words hit home. I'd spent my life thinking if I achieved enough, I'd earn their love. But my strengths made me their target. "The worst part," Lydia said, "is how it traps you into chasing approval you'll never get. You've been running on a wheel of achievement, hoping for love that should have been yours freely." "What now?" I asked, feeling free yet lost. "You grieve," she said softly. "You face the pain of not having the parents you deserved. Feel the anger, sadness, loss. Then build a life based on your values, not their approval." Therapy with Lydia became my healing cornerstone. For the first time, I let myself feel everything about my family without brushing it off. I cried for the girl whose achievements were ignored. I raged at parents who chose a dog over my life. I mourned the family I wanted but never had. I also started rebuilding practically. 2 weeks after the hospital, I returned to my apartment. Mrs. Garza greeted me with soup and cat updates. "He visits me every afternoon," she chuckled. "We're family now." Her use of family warmed me. Maybe family was about who showed up, not blood. Back home, I made changes. I got air purifiers for every room to avoid allergens. I updated my emergency contacts, swapping my parents for Natalie and with her okay Mrs. Garza. I revised my medical directive to exclude my parents from decisions if I couldn't make them. 3 weeks post-discharge, I returned to work. My colleagues welcomed me warmly. My boss, Brian, reassured me my job was safe. "Take it easy this week," he said. "Your health comes first. Work can wait." His care, unlike my family's neglect, showed me respect and kindness should be standard in relationships. I kept silent with my parents. Victoria texted once, casually asking, "Hey, how you feeling?" Like I'd had a cold, not a near-death crisis. I replied, "Recovering, thanks," keeping it short. For days after my letter, my parents called. I let it go to voicemail. Mom's message was tense. "Diana, it's Mom. We got your letter. You're being dramatic. We've always done our best for you and Victoria. Call when you're rational." Her dismissal of my pain and near-death experience proved I was right to step back. No apology, no recognition of their absence, just denial. For weeks into recovery, Victoria called, surprising me. "Mom and Dad are acting strange," she said. "They won't share your letter, but they're fighting and Mom's crying a lot." "What did you say?" "I told the truth," I said. "How they've always treated me differently, how they didn't come to the hospital when I might have died because you needed help with your dog." Silence. Then quietly, "I didn't know it was that bad. They said you'd be fine. Would you have acted differently if you knew?" I asked, curious, not accusing. "I don't know," she admitted. "Everything's always been about what I want." Her honesty surprised me. "That's not your fault," I said. "It's how they raised you. But I can't stay in that pattern. It almost killed me." "Are you saying you don't want to be my sister?" Her voice held a trace of the little girl I once knew. "No," I said gently. "I need to find myself first. I've spent my life trying to be perfect for their love. It's left me empty." I need to know who I am without that. I didn't know you felt like that, she said. You always seemed so strong. That was a mask, I said. Inside, I was drowning. Our talk ended without a clear fix, but it cracked our family's facade. I didn't know if she'd think about it or forget it, or if she'd tell our parents. For once, I let their reactions be their problem, not mine. That night, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, really looking at myself. My face was still thin. Dark circles lingered under my eyes from the health scare. But there was something new. A calm strength in my gaze. The need for approval that drove me for years was fading, replaced by a quiet, powerful self-acceptance. The day my parents came to the hospital and found my letter on an empty bed changed everything. I wasn't there to see it, but Ellie, my nurse and ally, called me the next day after getting my number with my permission. I hope it's okay I called, she said. I thought you'd want to know what happened when your parents came. I did, though part of me dreaded it. Please tell me. They arrived at 3 o'clock as promised, Ellie said. I told them you'd been discharged. Your dad was annoyed, asking why no one called them. Your mom saw the letter on your bed. Ellie said Mom picked up the envelope with my handwriting. She called Dad over, and they read it together by the empty bed. I gave them space, Ellie went on. But I saw them through the door's window. Your dad's face went red, then purple. Your mom turned pale and sat on the bed halfway through, like she couldn't stand. After finishing, Dad crumpled the letter, then smoothed it out. Mom stared blankly. They stayed 45 minutes, Ellie said. Barely talking, just sitting. When they left, your mom was crying, and your dad looked 10 years older. I listened, oddly detached, as if hearing about strangers. Their reaction showed my words hit hard, maybe forcing them to see our family clearly for the first time. Thanks for telling me, I said to Ellie, and for everything you did for me. You're welcome, she said warmly. Take care, Diana. You deserve it. You deserve it echoed in my mind. Did I deserve care? My head said yes, but years of being less than left deep doubts. After talking with Ellie, I expected calls, texts, or a visit at Natalie's, where I stayed to recover and avoid conflict. But there was only silence, except for Victoria's brief text. 6 days after my letter, my parents called. I let it go to voicemail. Mom's dismissive message called me dramatic and irrational, showing they weren't ready for honest reflection. 2 days later, Dad sent a long email, showing some self-awareness. Diana, your letter made us face hard truths. I don't agree with everything, but we haven't always met your needs. That night at the hospital, we didn't grasp how serious it was. We're used to you handling things alone. That was our mistake and I'm sorry. But you're unfair about our whole relationship. We've always been proud of your independence and achievements, even if we didn't show it your way. Please reconsider cutting us off. Victoria misses you, and so do we. Dad. His words showed a hint of understanding but missed the full picture. Claiming pride without ever attending my milestones spoke volumes. Not grasping the severity when doctors said I might die showed how deeply they dismissed my needs. I shared Dad's email with Lydia, my therapist, at our next session. This is common, she said. They admit the hospital mistake, but resist seeing the bigger pattern. He says you're unfair, implying your experience isn't valid. Should I reply? I asked. It depends on what you want, she said. If you want full acknowledgement, they're not there. For some connection with boundaries, a short reply could work. If you need space, silence is okay. I thought it over and sent a brief email. Det. Thanks for admitting you should have come to the hospital. That matters. But this isn't just one moment. It's a lifetime pattern that nearly killed me. I need time to heal, body and soul. Please respect that. Diana. It was short, clear, and held my boundary while noting his small step. I got no reply. Weeks passed as I settled back into my apartment and work. My parents stayed silent, but Victoria reached out more. Her text shifted from casual to curious, asking about my recovery and our childhood. Was growing up really that hard for you? She asked on a call a month after my hospital stay. I thought you had it all figured out. You were so smart, so capable. Everyone said you were amazing. That was just the surface, I said. Inside, I was always trying to be perfect to win Mom and Dad's attention. Remember my high school graduation? I was valedictorian, but they left early because you had a slight cold. I remember, she said slowly. I wasn't even that sick. Mom just said I looked pale. And my college graduation, I added. They skipped it because you needed help picking an outfit for a date. I forgot that, she admitted quietly. It sounds awful when you list it like that. Talking to Victoria was tough. She was shaped by our messed up family just like me. But she'd gained from it while I lost out. I tried to be honest about my pain while knowing her realization of our family's truth would hurt her too. 6 weeks after leaving the hospital, back at work and finding my new normal, my parents showed up unannounced at my apartment on a Saturday. I saw them through the peephole and almost didn't open the door, but I took a deep breath and faced them. Diana, you look well, Mom said, her voice shaky. Why are you here? I asked, keeping my tone even. We need to talk, Dad said. You can't cut us out over one misunderstanding. Calling my near-death experience a misunderstanding sparked anger, but I stayed calm. This isn't a good time. If you want to talk, call first and respect my boundaries. Boundaries? Mom said like it was a strange word. We're your parents. We don't need permission to see you. You do, I said firmly. I asked for space in my letter. Showing up like this ignores that. This is absurd, Dad said. Victoria told us you're filling her head with nonsense about us being bad parents. We've done everything for you both. I told Victoria my truth, I said. If that clashes with your version of our family, that's something you need to face. Mom's face fell. How can you be so cruel? Do you know how much you've hurt us? Guilt bubbled up, my old habit of carrying their feelings, but I pushed it down. I almost died, Mom, alone in the hospital because you chose Victoria's dog over me. I'm not responsible for how you feel about that. They kept trying old tactics, guilt, duty, dismissing my pain, family loyalty. But I'd changed. The need for their approval was gone, replaced by a clear sense of my own worth. After 15 minutes of going nowhere, I said, I'm closing the door now. Don't come back unannounced. Call or email first and respect if I'm not ready. This isn't over, Dad said as I shut the door. You're right, I said. It's the start of me valuing myself enough to set boundaries. Goodbye. I leaned against the door, heart pounding, but my resolve strong. For the first time, I stood up to them without guilt or hope for their love. It was scary and freeing. That evening, Victoria texted. Mom and Dad came home upset. Dad says you've changed. Mom's crying in their room. What happened? I stood up for myself, I replied. It's new for us all. After a long pause, she wrote, I think I need to learn that too. Her words, so unexpected, gave me hope. Not for a perfect family fix, but for a better bond with my sister and new ways forward for us both. It's been 6 months since I left that letter on my hospital bed. 6 months of healing and change. I'm in a new apartment, 40 miles from my parents, reflecting on how much I've grown. My body's healed. The hives are gone, my breathing's normal, and Dr. Rivera's new meds keep my condition stable. I'm careful about allergens, but the fear that used to haunt me is fading. I moved to a new city 2 months after the hospital for a fresh start, away from old patterns. My company let me transfer to a new branch. My new apartment, on a top floor with great air filtration, suits my health needs perfectly. What's amazed me most is the support I've found by making space for it. Natalie visits every other weekend, our friendship now deeper than work. Mrs. Garza and I talk weekly, sharing recipes and stories. She's like the grandmother I never had. In my new city, I've joined a book club and a hiking group for people with chronic illnesses. These new friendships feel different. Without my old need to please, I'm building real connections based on respect and care. It's been a journey, watching my family ties shift in ways I never saw coming. My relationship with my parents has settled into something minimal, almost like a distant acquaintance. They reach out once a month, usually with a call that pops up on my phone screen unexpectedly. I don't always pick up. I wait until I'm in a good headspace, when my emotions feel steady enough to handle whatever comes. When I do answer, our conversations stay light. We talk about the weather, maybe a bit about work or the news. Nothing deep, nothing that digs into the past or stirs up old wounds. It's superficial, but that's okay now. These chats used to leave me exhausted, questioning my worth all over again. Not anymore. I've let go of expecting more from them. I've come to accept that they might never be the parents I dreamed of. The ones who nurture deeply, who celebrate every part of me. That realization hit hard at first, like a final goodbye to a childhood fantasy. But strangely, it's brought me peace. No more endless disappointment from hopes that never come true. I'm free from that cycle, and it feels like breathing easier after years of holding my breath. Victoria's transformation caught me off guard the most. She's always been the golden child, the one who got the spotlight without even trying. But 2 months after I left the hospital, she packed up and moved out of our parents' house. She found her own apartment, a small place in the city, and started figuring things out on her own. Then came the big surprise: she rehomed Snowball. She found a family friend with a spacious yard, and kids who fell in love with that fluffy dog at first sight. "I didn't really want a dog," she told me during one of our calls, her voice softer than I'd heard in years. "It was just another way to get Mom and Dad's attention. They spoiled me with whatever I asked for, no questions." But looking back, it wasn't fair to Snowball, dragging him into our mess. And it sure wasn't fair to you, sis, putting your health at risk like that. I paused on the phone, stunned. This was Victoria, the sister who'd always seemed wrapped up in herself, admitting something so raw. Her self-awareness was new, like she'd finally peeled back the layers of our family's favoritism. I asked her what flipped the switch, what made her see things differently. "Your words did," she said simply, but it felt profound. "Not just the letter to Mom and Dad, but what you shared with me about always trying to be perfect to earn their love. It hit me hard. I realized I'd been doing the same thing, just in reverse. I played the helpless, needy daughter because that's what kept their focus on me. It worked, but it turned me into someone I don't like, dependent, always taking without thinking. I don't want to be that anymore." Her honesty opened a door between us. We started talking more, not just about the surface stuff, but the real hurts from growing up in that unbalanced home. Now we meet for coffee once a month. It's nothing fancy, just a quiet cafe where we can sit and chat without interruptions. Our relationship is still mending, like a scar that's fading but not gone. We're finding a new rhythm, one without the old jealousy or competition. There's an openness now, a honesty we never had. We're learning to be sisters for real, supporting each other without our parents' favoritism twisting everything. It's slow, but it's genuine. For the first time, I feel like we might build something solid, just the two of us. Therapy with Lydia has become my steady guide through all this. She's the one who keeps me grounded, reminding me that healing doesn't follow a neat path. It's messy with ups and downs I didn't expect. Some days, I wake up feeling strong, ready to take on the world. Others, those old patterns sneak back in. I catch myself pushing too hard at work, overachieving just to feel worthy. Or I'll downplay my needs in a conversation, not wanting to seem difficult. Those moments hit like echoes from my past, the scapegoat role trying to pull me back. But now, I recognize them for what they are, remnants of a dynamic I left behind. I pause, breathe, and choose differently. It's empowering, that choice. Lydia's helped me unpack so much. We talk about the little girl I was, always striving for approval that never came. We explore the anger I buried for years, letting it out in safe ways. And we celebrate the progress, no matter how small. Therapy isn't a quick fix. It's an ongoing tool, one I rely on to keep growing. Through it all, I've learned what family really means. It's not the blood ties you're born with. Those are just chance. True family is the one you build, the people who choose you every day. They show up when it counts, respect your space, and cheer your growth without strings attached. Take Ellie, the nurse from the hospital. She stayed past her shift that critical night, holding my hand as I fought to breathe. A stranger, yet she showed more loyalty than my parents, who picked a dog walk over being by my side. Her kindness lingered, a reminder that care can come from unexpected places. Then there's Natalie, my co-worker turned lifeline. She drove me to the ER when I could barely stand, then visited every day during my recovery. She didn't have to, She wasn't family by blood, but her actions spoke louder than any shared DNA. She cared more in those moments than Victoria, who brushed off my emergency call because her dog was chewing shoes. And Mrs. Garza, my sweet elderly neighbor. She fed my cat while I was away, then brought me homemade soup when I got home. Her simple acts embodied that neighborly warmth, the kind that feels like family without any obligation. "We're in this together," she'd say with a smile. These people taught me family is about actions, not labels. That near-death scare cut through the noise, showing me what really counts in relationships. It's not about bloodlines or fancy titles. Family isn't proven by big, showy moments or dramatic promises. It's built on everyday choices. To be there, to truly see the person in front of you, to honor their boundaries and needs as much as your own. I used to chase those grand gestures, thinking they'd fix everything. But life taught me otherwise. True connection is quiet consistency, a hand to hold in crisis, a listening ear without judgment, a respect for space when asked. My experience stripped away the illusions, leaving only what's real. Forgiveness has been another hard lesson. I've forgiven my parents, not for their sake, but mine. I see now they couldn't give what they probably never received. Unconditional love, equal attention. Their favoritism likely stems from their own scars, unhealed hurts passed down. Understanding that helps, but it doesn't mean I have to stay stuck in their cycle. Forgiveness isn't a free pass back to the pain. It doesn't require me to reopen doors to a dynamic that broke me down and nearly ended my life. I can let go of the bitterness without inviting the hurt back in. It's a boundary for my peace, a way to move forward lighter. The deepest shift has been in how I see myself. For 26 years, I lived like my worth was a prize to win. Through top grades, perfect behavior, endless sacrifices. I thought if I just did enough, love would follow. But that chase left me empty, always falling short in my own eyes. Now I know better. My value isn't earned. It's inherent, a birthright I carry no matter what. I don't need achievements to prove I'm enough. That truth has changed everything. How I work, how I connect, how I care for myself. It's like stepping into sunlight after years in shadow. The letter I left on that empty hospital bed marked the end of a toxic chapter. But more than that, it was the start of something new. A life where I claim my worth, draw clear boundaries, and pick relationships that build me up instead of breaking me down. If you're reading this and it stirs something familiar, if you're the family scapegoat, the one always overlooked, pouring energy into earning love that should flow freely, hear me. You deserve so much more. Your value doesn't depend on anyone else's stamp of approval. You don't have to twist yourself into perfection to be seen or respected. It's okay to step away from what's hurting you. The bravest act is redirecting that effort, from chasing unavailable love to crafting a life that celebrates you. Surround yourself with people who see your light, who honor your boundaries, who make you feel whole. If my words have touched you, pass them on to someone else who might need them. Hit like if you've been nodding, feeling that connection. Subscribe for more tales of turning pain into power, of healing and fresh starts. Share in the comments how you've claimed your value in hard family situations. What steps helped you break free? Thank you for walking this path with me. I hope you gather the courage to embrace your worth, in whatever form it takes. And remember, the family that counts isn't always the one from birth. It's the one you create, rooted in love, respect, and true care. Every session with Lydia feels like peeling back another layer. We started with the raw trauma, the hospital nights alone, the sting of abandonment. But as weeks turned to months, we ventured deeper, into the roots of my pain. She listens without judgment, guiding me to connect the dots from childhood slights to adult struggles. Healing, I've learned, ebbs and flows. On good days, I feel unbreakable, like I've conquered the past. Then a trigger hits, an old memory or a stressful moment, and I'm back fighting those ingrained habits. Overachieving sneaks in when I'm insecure, pushing me to do more to feel valid. Or I catch myself apologizing for basic needs, afraid to seem burdensome. Lydia taught me to notice these patterns without self-blame. They're echoes, she says, not who you are now. So I pause, acknowledge them, and pivot. It's small wins, like saying no to extra work or voicing what I need in a friendship. Each choice builds my confidence, reinforcing that I'm in control. Family's meaning has transformed for me. Blood ties are random, but chosen connections are intentional. They're the ones who prove themselves through actions, not words. Who stand by you in storms, not just sunshine. Ellie exemplified that. Her shift ended, but she stayed, her hand in mine a lifeline amid beeps and fear. No relation. Yet her compassion outshone my parents' choice to prioritize a pet over my crisis. It's moments like that which redefine loyalty. Natalie's support was unwavering. From the frantic drive to the ER to daily visits with coffee and magazines, she was there. No blood tie, but her care filled the void left by Victoria's distraction during my call for help. It's taught me to value deeds over titles. Mrs. Garza's kindness wrapped it all up. Checking on my cat, delivering warm soup, simple gestures that felt profound. Neighbors are family too, she'd say. Her actions showed me bonds formed from heart, not heritage. That brush with death sharpened my view on relationships like nothing else. It stripped away illusions, revealing the core. Connections thrive on consistent effort, not biology or spectacle. True bonds mean showing up reliably, seeing each other wholly, balancing needs with empathy. I once equated family with dramatic saves or bold declarations. But reality hit. It's the quiet reliability that counts. A text checking in, a hug in tough times, respecting no without pushback. My experience forced me to prioritize substance over show. Forgiveness unfolded as a personal gift, not a reunion ticket. I released resentment toward my parents, recognizing their flaws as echoes of their own unmet needs. They couldn't offer equality because they never knew it. That insight softened the anger, but it didn't pull me back into harm. I set firm lines, understanding their limits without sacrificing my peace. Forgiveness freed me to walk away from the cycle that scarred me deeply, nearly fatally. It's self-preservation, not surrender. Self-worth emerged as my greatest revelation. 26 years of striving, straight A's, jobs juggled, perfection chased, all to prove I mattered. It was exhausting, an endless loop of not enough. But now, I see my inherent value, unearned and unchanging. This shift touches everything. At work, I contribute without overextending. In friendships, I give and receive equally. Self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. Knowing I'm worthy just as I am has unlocked a joy I never knew. Leaving that letter on my bed closed a painful door, but it opened a world of possibility. It was my declaration. I'm done with toxicity. Hello to a life where I honor my value, enforce boundaries, and seek connections that empower, not erode. If this echoes your story, the invisible sibling, the one bending backward for scraps of affection, listen closely. You're worthy right now, without changing a thing. No one's validation defines you. Drop the perfection chase. Embrace the care you deserve. Stepping away from unloving sources takes guts. Redirect that energy inward. Nurture yourself. Cultivate bonds that reflect your light. It's not rejection, it's reclamation. Build your circle with those who see and celebrate you. Share this if it moves you, maybe it helps another soul. Like if my words ring true, subscribe for stories of resilience and renewal. Let's connect through shared growth. Comment below. How have you reclaimed your value in family struggles? What helped you set boundaries? Thanks for being part of this. Wishing you the bravery to claim your worth, in all its forms. True family? It's the one you forge with genuine love and respect. Reflecting on my parents now, our minimal contact feels like a truce. Their monthly calls are predictable, often on a Sunday afternoon. I screen them, answering only when my mind is clear, my heart armored. No more rushing to pick up, eager for crumbs. Our talks skim the surface. How's the weather? Any new movies? I steer clear of anything raw. It's not fulfilling, but it's neutral. Gone are the days when their words left me reeling, doubting myself. Acceptance has been my shield. I grieved the nurturing bond one craved, the one where they'd cheer my wins equally. They can't give it, perhaps never could. That truth stung, but letting go lifted a weight. No more unmet hopes dragging me down. I'm lighter, more present in my own life. Victoria's evolution still amazes me. Moving out was her first bold step, trading comfort for independence. Her apartment's cozy, filled with her touches, plants, books, a space that's truly hers. Rehoming Snowball sealed it. She chose fairness over convenience. On our calls, which happen more often now, she opens up. The dog was a crutch, she said once. I used it to stay the center. But after your words, I saw how it hurt everyone, especially you. Her vulnerability bridges the gap our parents created. I probe gently. What made you shift? Hearing you talk about perfection chasing, she replied. It mirrored my role, the eternal needy one. It kept their attention but stunted me. I want more for myself now. Her insight inspires. We're both breaking free. Our monthly coffees are highlights. We laugh over old photos, share dreams without competition. The honesty flows, admitting jealousies, regrets. We're reshaping sisterhood, free from favoritism's shadow. It's tender, real, a bond we're nurturing day by day. Lydia's office feels like a safe harbor. Weekly sessions peel back layers, from immediate trauma to deep-seated beliefs. She's patient, probing gently, helping me rewrite my narrative. Healing's not linear, it's a winding road with detours. Bad days still come. A work deadline triggers overdrive, me proving worth through exhaustion. Or in social settings, I minimize discomfort to avoid drama. Lydia calls these ghosts old habits haunting. I learn to name them, then release. Progress shows in small ways. Saying no without guilt, prioritizing rest. Therapy equips me with tools. Journaling feelings, mindfulness to stay grounded. It's ongoing work, but each step strengthens my resolve. Redefining family has been transformative. Blood's just a start. Choice makes it real. Who invests in you, honors your no, celebrates your yes, that's family. Ellie's act lingers vividly. Her hand in mine, voice soothing through the night. No obligation, yet she stayed, outshining my parents' absence. It's a benchmark for care now. Natalie's reliability shines. From ER rush to recovery visits, she was constant. Her friendship, born from work, blossomed into sister-like support, far beyond Victoria's initial dismissiveness. Mrs. Garza's warmth completes the picture. Cat care, soup deliveries, quiet kindnesses that bind. Her stories, shared over tea, feel like grandmotherly wisdom. These ties prove family is chosen, built on mutual heart. My crisis clarified relationships' essence with sharp clarity. No room for pretense, only what endures. Family transcends genetics or vows. It's forged in daily decisions to engage fully, empathetically. I once romanticized big rescues, thinking they defined love. But truth emerged. It's the steady presence, the quiet listening, the boundary respect that sustains. My experience honed this wisdom, guiding my connections now. Forgiveness evolved as self-liberation. Holding grudges weighed me down. Releasing them lightened my load. I see my parents' flaws as inherited pain, not malice. Yet, insight doesn't demand return to toxicity. I forgive without reconciliation, protecting my healing. Their dynamic nearly destroyed me. I won't revisit it. This boundary is compassion, for them and me. Self-worth as revelation reshaped my core. Chasing validation through feats left me hollow. Now I affirm my inherent value daily, through rest, joy, unapologetic being. It's revolutionary, this self-love. That hospital letter ended an era of suffering, launching me into empowerment. It's my manifesto, embracing worth, enforcing limits, curating uplifting bonds. Life's too short for diminution. If you're nodding, seeing your struggles in mine. The sideline kid, performer for affection, pause here. You are enough as is. No contortions needed for love or respect. Claim that truth. Bravery lies in pivoting, from fruitless pursuits to self-honoring paths. Nurture your spirit, surround with affirmers. It's not loss, it's gain. Spread this if it sparks hope. Like for solidarity, subscribe for inspiration. Let's exchange stories of triumph. Comment your self-valuation journeys and family trials. Grateful for your presence. Embrace your worth boldly. The family you build awaits, rich in authentic care.